So here's the thing that no one's going to tell you about discipline. Discipline is not about willpower. It's not about trying harder. It's not about even being more motivated, but it's about wiring and alignment. You see, most people try to build a disciplined life on an undisciplined identity. They're trying to act like a different person without totally becoming a different person. But in life, we don't get what we want. We get who we are. So in this video, I'm going to show you how the brain is wired and why it's been working against you without you even realizing it. And by the end of this video, you're going to be able to break free from all those undisciplined habits and start living a life with discipline and structure. Now, here's something that many people don't realize is that the brain is a survival machine. It was designed 1,000,000 years ago for one thing, not to make us happy, successful, fulfilled, not to make us disciplined, but to keep us alive. That's it. So in other words, discipline is not our default, survival is. And the less intentional you are about becoming a person of discipline, the more likely you are to just live in survival mode. Now, survival mode is when you're living in a constant state of stress, anxiety, fear, worry, doubt, indecision, indecisiveness. When you're constantly on the defense, never on the offense. When you're reacting to everything that happens to you. Someone cuts you off in traffic. Now you're yelling, cussing, screaming. Now you're mad for the rest of the day. You feel like the world isn't working in your favor. You feel like things aren't going your way. So now you're mad at the world. As if everybody else don't have their own problems. And you're only contributing to the world's problems. That's what it means to be in survival mode. But so many people will make that their comfort zone and their way of life without even realizing it. I mean, I get it. When you get used to being let down by people, when you get used to missing opportunities, when you feel like life isn't working for you, when you feel like things aren't going your way, it's easy to make that your standard of living. It's easy to settle and start to expect those things from the world and to expect those things from the people and everything that you encounter. It's easy to do that. But here's the thing. Survival mode is not always easily recognizable, right? So many people are living in survival mode, not even realizing it because it feels so natural. It feels so familiar. It feels like home. And it is home because the brain was designed for self-preservation. It was designed to look for problems, to look for threats, and to protect us at all costs. So when you're living in survival mode, you're living at that default setting. And it can feel natural. It can feel like you. It can feel like this is just who I am. But you're just living in that default setting of survival mode. It doesn't mean that you can't become more, because we all can become more. But you just haven't trained yourself to become more yet, right? So when discipline is a struggle, it's not that you're broken. It's just you haven't trained your brain for anything other than survival mode. You're still living in those default settings. That's all that it means. But the brain is malleable, which means it's easily influenced, reshaped, restructured. It can be changed, transformed to do something else. Just because it is this way now doesn't mean it has to stay that way. It doesn't matter how lazy you are, how undisciplined you are, how inconsistent you are. You can rewire your brain to do something else. You can rewire your brain to help you to become more of a greater person of value. But you just have to have the right steps to do that. And you're not going to do it by force. You're not going to do it by motivation. But you can do it strategically. And we're going to talk about a step-by-step process that you can do. But before we talk about that, we got to talk about the foundation. What is discipline? See, many people think discipline is forcing yourself to do things that you really don't feel like doing. Then doing those things for a long time with the hopes that one day you will enjoy it. Just like everybody else. But that's not discipline. That's how some people's lives are every day when they go to work, right? Discipline is the process of becoming who you need to become so you can do the things you need to do consistently. That's what discipline is. We don't get disciplined by doing things. We get disciplined by becoming something more. That's how we get disciplined. It's not an action. It's not a series of behaviors. But It's the type of person that you become. It's aligning your actions with your identity, right? And it's the process of becoming that person. So it's an identity transformation. Look, if you don't remember nothing from this video, I want you to remember this one thing. You will never be able to outperform your identity. Doesn't matter how lazy you are, how inconsistent you are, how disciplined you are. Doesn't matter who you are. You can never outperform your identity. So if you believe that you're lazy, weak, undisciplined, inconsistent, dishonest, untrustworthy, unorganized, guess what's going to happen? Your brain must align with that identity every time. Not sometimes. It's like the law of gravity. The law of gravity doesn't work sometimes. It doesn't pick and choose like, okay, well, yeah, I'm going to work for you. No, I'm not going to work for you. Yes, I'm going to work for you. No, I'm not going to work for you. It doesn't do that. It works the same way. Doesn't matter who you are. Every single time. And this is the same thing. You can never outperform your identity. So your brain must align with that identity. Because here's the thing. The brain doesn't look for truth. It doesn't look for growth. It doesn't look for ways to make your life better, for you to be more fulfilled. It doesn't look for ways to improve your life at all. It looks for consistency with how you see yourself. That's what it's looking for. But this is basically just identity. Identity is the thoughts you believe to be true or untrue about yourself. It's that internal narrative, that internal dialogue. That little small voice that nobody else hears but you. That little small voice that seems so loud when it's dark, when it's cold, when it's silent. That little small voice, you can never outperform that little small voice because your identity will always prove itself right. Let me ask you this. Have you ever heard of someone, known someone that has lost weight and then put the weight right back on? Maybe they lost 10, 15, 20 pounds. And, oh, man, you compliment me. You looking good. Maybe years go by. Maybe a few months go by. And then you see them again. They put that 15, 20 pounds right back on. And they put an extra 5 on just for a little comfort. You know, why not? But the reason that happens is because you can never outperform your identity. It's the same reason why people can't lose weight. The people that's been trying to lose weight for 1, 2, 3, 4, 10 years, right? The same thing, because you can never outperform your identity, and your identity will always prove itself right. Because when you try to outperform your identity, you're attempting to outperform your self-image. That little voice, the things that you believe about yourself. And you might have a little bit of emotion. You might have some success here and there. But until you change that identity, you will always fall back to your old patterns and habits. That's exactly why people can eat clean for a week or force themselves to eat clean for a week, and then the weekend they blow it all up. That's why people go into New Year's fully energized, and then by February they're right back into their old patterns and habits. Identity always wins over behavior every single time. This is why discipline is not just something that you do, but it's a type of person that you become. Because it's not until you become that person that you can act consistently. Go back to the definition. The process of becoming who you need to become so you can do the things you need to do consistently. It's the process of becoming, right? That's the first portion of it. So you can do the things you need to do consistently. The doing doesn't come before the becoming, right? You have to first become something through your thoughts and your actions, through your little voice that you hear, right? Through your self-image. And then you will be able to act consistently. But if you do the work before you begin to change that identity, you're just going to fall back to your old patterns and habits. Every single time. Your brain will always drag you back to who you believe you are. So you have to begin to shift your identity first before you can make the consistent changes and transformation that you're looking for and become that disciplined person that you're attempting to become. So now let's talk about how do you make the shift in your identity. So discipline isn't something that you're just trying to do. It's something that actually becomes a part of you. And it happens in 3 stages. Number 1 is going to be language. See, most people think that when they go to make a change, the first thing they need to attack is the action, the behavior, or their environment. It's not. Although those are important, and you do need to handle those, and you do need to change those and shift those. But the first thing that you need to change is your language. You need to change your words, not the things that you're necessarily saying to other people. More importantly, the things that you're saying to yourself. Changing that internal narrative, that internal dialogue, the one that nobody else hears but you. You have to attack that, because words are not harmless, right? But words are seeds. They're not just sounds, right? But they're seeds that are planted on the landscape of our mind. And how it works is when you say something, right? Whether it's internal, whether it's to somebody else, it doesn't matter. When you say something, you plant a seed. And then every time you repeat that thing, you're watering that seed over and over. And a tree is not strong because of its trunk. A tree is strong because of its roots. So every time you're watering that seed is building strength. And people think words are harmless because they don't see things happen immediately. Like when you say something, boom, it happens. But something more powerful is happening. Because again, like I said, a tree is not strong because of its trunk. It's strong because of its roots. So every time you're watering that seed, that seed is gaining strength by growing roots into the ground. And it's getting stronger and stronger. And then eventually it breaks ground once it's got enough strength. So you have to monitor your words. And this is the thing, like the mind doesn't care if the seed's a good seed, meaning you're sowing good seeds into your life, whether you want to be healthy, rich, whatever, something of empowerment, or whether it's a bad seed. You're saying something that puts you down. It takes both of them. It doesn't matter what it is. As long as you keep watering that seed is going to grow. See, most people train their brain to sabotage them, then wonder why their life looks the way it looks. So you want to use your words to train your brain to serve you and not sabotage you, because words have power. See, most people disqualify themselves simply by opening their mouths, right? They're speaking the things that they see. They're speaking what they see around them, but all they're doing is just reinforcing what already is around them, right? Versus speaking what they want to see. See, because leaders in any line of business, true leaders, I'm not talking about the ones that just call themselves leaders and then they hide behind the title of being a leader. Leadership is not a title, it's a lifestyle, something that you live. So true leaders, they don't see the world for how it is, because how the world is how it is. It's based off of everything that happened in the past. They see the world for how it can be. If you look at Apple, look at Steve Jobs. He built Apple not based off of what was the need right then and there. He built Apple based off of what he saw the future and what it could be, right? So we have to do the same thing with our words. We don't want to speak what we see, what already is, because that was based off of everything in the past. We want to speak what we want to see. So you want to use your words as your strength. You want to overcome the challenges of being undisciplined, being lazy, being inconsistent. First, by attacking that little voice that seems so small, but is so big. Changing the narrative, the internal narrative of that little voice. That's the first thing. Change your words. Number 2 is going to be behaviors, right? You want to reinforce your behaviors over time. What you do in repetition will be your life's condition. So you want to build small habits, build small wins. This reinforces your behavior. Now we can start to talk about the behavior. See, most people, they go and they want to start with the behavior. And then after they do the behavior, then they want to speak to the thing. So, but all they're doing is they're just going to end up right back where they are, because remember, you can never outperform your identity. Your identity will always prove itself right. So if you don't first change those words, then this little behaviors that you're attempting to change, it won't last. It won't stick. You have to change your words first, and then you go into changing your behaviors, right? So you want to build small habits, build small wins. 3-step process. Start small. Start slow. Keep it simple. When I say start small, I mean start embarrassingly small. Something that feels almost stupid to do. Do 1 push-up a day, and then slowly build on that, right? You want to start slow. Because what you're doing is you're allowing yourself to build a foundation. It's just, go back to that seed analogy that I use, right? Every time you plant a seed, and every time you say something, you plant a seed, and then every time you repeat it, you're watering that seed. But you don't see that seed sprout up just like that. Because every time you're watering it, that seed is growing roots. It's the same thing in your actions and behaviors. If you just start with 1 push-up, maybe 1 squat, even 1 jumping jack, that's embarrassingly small. 1 jumping jack every day for a week. Boom. Next week, go to 2 jumping jacks. Next week, go to 3 jumping jacks. Embarrassingly small. Starting slow. It allows you to build a foundation because you're building those roots. It may not seem like nothing's happening. And honestly, it may feel more challenging than it is, because now you have to overcome the thoughts of wanting that instant gratification and wanting things to happen immediately, right now. But building out a foundation is not always gratifying. It's not something that's going to give you instant results. It's usually something that's boring, mundane, and very tedious, which is why people don't want to stick with it. But if you start slow, start small, and last one, keep it simple, then you can't lose in building those small wins. You can't lose because, again, you're allowing yourself to build a solid foundation. You're allowing yourself to build roots that are strong enough, and you're allowing yourself the time and the space to grow into that person that you are transforming into. Again, start slow, start small, keep it simple. Those 3 steps. And everybody's slow and small is going to be different. If I was to start something right now with working out, starting slow and small, let's say if I want to get better at something, my slow and small may be, let's say, push-ups. I want to get better at push-ups. My slow and small may be 50 push-ups a day, maybe 100 push-ups a day. Maybe, I do way more than that, but still, it may be not the same thing as yours. So you have to cater it and make it something that you can stick with. That's what you want to do. Make it something that you can stick with. Cater it to you, fit it to you, and give yourself the time and the space to grow into the person that you are capable of becoming and the person that you want to become. Okay? So the first one is you want to change your language, change your words. Number 2 is you want to focus on your behaviors, small wins, because what you do in repetition will be your life's condition. It's going to allow you to lay a small, firm foundation. And number 3, you want to build evidence. See, discipline becomes your default when you have enough evidence that says, this is who I am now. Going back to number 2, what you do in repetition will be your life's condition. Those little small wins that you're stacking up, that's building evidence. So your brain can say, oh, there's enough consistency with the person doing what they believe themselves to be. Because again, remember, we changed our words first. So if you're changing your words first, you've already got the language to fit the person that you're attempting to become. Now you stack that with the action, right? And you bring those together. Now you have evidence. You have the evidence you need. You have the proof that you need, so the brain can say, oh, there's a consistency there to say this is who I am now. And then discipline then becomes your default. See, discipline doesn't care about what you want. It cares about what you prove to yourself through your words and through your actions. That's all it cares about. It craves consistency. It craves familiarity between what you say and what you do. And the more you do that consistently, through the small wins, through the words, the more you build that evidence. So if you want unbreakable discipline, you must have unbreakable evidence through your words, through your actions. But I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Make sure you share this with somebody you feel might be able to benefit from this content. As you know, got my book out, currently available on Amazon, Winning Within: How to Win the War Between Greatness and Mediocrity. Check it out. Thank you for all those who have supported me, and I will catch y'all in the next video.